Loneliness in the heart of a man is one of the most silent struggles of our age. Men live in a world filled with noise, connection, and endless communication, yet deep inside, many carry a void they cannot name. It is a silence that follows them into crowded rooms, into friendships, into marriages, even into success. Carl Jung, the great Swiss psychologist, understood this hidden emptiness long before our modern world was filled with distractions. He believed that loneliness was not simply being without people, it was being disconnected from the deepest parts of the self. Jung wrote that loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that matter most to you, the things that live within your soul. This is the true psychology of male loneliness. It is not about the absence of company, but about the absence of understanding and expression. From childhood, men are often taught to hide their real feelings, to wear a mask of strength and silence. This mask is what Jung called the persona. It is the face we present to the world, polished, controlled, and acceptable. Society rewards men for being strong, for not complaining, for carrying burdens without showing weakness. But beneath this mask lies the shadow, the part of the psyche that holds everything unspoken, the sadness, the fear, the longing for connection, the vulnerability that was never allowed to breathe. When a man lives only through his persona and rejects his shadow, he begins to feel the ache of loneliness, because the world only sees the mask and not the real man. And no matter how many friends he has or how much success he achieves, he feels unseen, unknown, and untouched in his soul. Jung believed that true wholeness requires us to face the shadow, not to deny it, but to integrate it. Male loneliness often deepens because men run from this confrontation. Instead of exploring the sadness, they drown it in work and distractions, in surface-level pleasures. But Jung believed that true wholeness requires us to face the shadow, not to deny it, but to integrate it. Male loneliness, more they avoid it. Loneliness in men is not only emotional but spiritual. It is the soul asking to be heard. Jung would say that when a man feels an unbearable emptiness, it is not a curse, but a calling. It is life urging him to begin the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole by uniting the conscious and unconscious, the mask and the shadow, the mind and the soul. Another reason Jung saw for male loneliness is the repression of the anima, the inner feminine energy every man carries within him. It is the part of his psyche that longs for intimacy, creativity, softness, and love, but society tells men to reject it, to harden themselves, to be only logical, only powerful, only invulnerable. By cutting off the anima, a man cuts off his own bridge to emotional connection. He loses the ability to truly feel, and without feeling, he cannot truly bond with others. So even in relationships, he may feel alone because he is unable to reveal his heart. Jung warned that when the anima is ignored, it does not disappear. It turns dark. It creates confusion. It projects unrealistic expectations on women or isolates a man into fantasy. When a man learns to accept and respect his anima, he begins to heal his loneliness, because he allows himself to connect not only with others but with the hidden parts of his own being. The modern world makes this crisis worse. Technology creates endless connection, but shallow connection. Jung might say we are surrounded by people, yet more distant from ourselves than ever. Men scroll through images, conversations, likes, and comments, yet feel unseen, because what is being shared is only the persona, not the soul. The digital mask becomes another wall between the self and the world, and male loneliness grows deeper behind the screen. But how can a man break this cycle? Jung would say it begins with courage, the courage to turn inward instead of outward, to sit in silence and ask, what am I truly feeling? What am I hiding? What part of me have I locked away because I feared it was weak or unacceptable? Loneliness is the signal that your soul wants your attention. Facing it is the first step toward freedom. When a man dares to listen to his shadow, he begins to integrate it, and with integration comes strength. Not the fragile strength of a mask, but the deep strength of authenticity. Imagine a man who has always worn the mask of toughness. He never shows sadness, never asks for help, never admits fear. He has friends, but they only know his surface. He has a family, but he keeps his deepest worries locked inside. He is surrounded, yet utterly alone. One day, the weight of his silence breaks him, and he cannot carry the mask any longer. This moment of breakdown is not destruction, it is transformation. Jung would call it the breakthrough of the unconscious, demanding to be recognized. In facing his shadow, this man begins to feel human again. He realizes that by hiding his vulnerability, He was hiding his true self, and by showing it, he begins to connect, not just with others, but with his own soul. Loneliness also arises when a man loses meaning. Jung wrote that the greatest problem of our time is the emptiness of meaning. Many men feel isolated not only from people, but from purpose. They may achieve money, status, or recognition, but inside they ask, why does it all feel empty? Without meaning, the heart starves and loneliness grows. Jung believed that meaning comes not from outside achievements, but from inner alignment with the self. When a man discovers his path, his calling, his unique way of contributing to life, he feels less alone because he is united with something greater than himself. It is important to understand that loneliness is not weakness. Loneliness is a teacher. It is a mirror that shows you where you are, not whole, where you are divided from yourself. It asks you to heal the broken connection inside before you can build true connections outside. Jung's psychology gives us tools for this healing. First, to face the persona and remove the mask. Second, to meet the shadow and integrate its lessons. Third, to embrace the anima and allow emotional depth. And fourth, to walk the path of individuation. Becoming whole and authentic in the silence of loneliness lies the doorway to transformation. But only if a man is brave enough to step through. Jung reminds us that the soul has its own wisdom, and it speaks through the feelings we try hardest to avoid: sadness, emptiness, longing. These are not enemies. They are signals guiding us back to our true nature. So if you are a man listening to this and you feel that deep emptiness, that silent ache that follows, you remember this: you are not broken. You are not weak. You are simply being called to meet yourself in a deeper way. Loneliness is not here to destroy you. It is here to awaken you, to shake you free from masks and shallow living, and to guide you toward authenticity. The path is not easy, but it is real when you start to open your heart, even in small ways. When you allow yourself to speak honestly, when you dare to admit your fears, when you sit with your sadness without running away, you will notice that the loneliness begins to change. It softens, it teaches, it transforms into wisdom and eventually into connection, because others can only see you when you first see yourself. This is the psychology of male loneliness. It is not just about missing others, it is about missing yourself, the man you are meant to be, the man who is not just a mask of strength, but a whole being with light and shadow, logic and feeling, masculine and feminine united. Jung teaches us that to be whole is to be seen by your own soul, and in that wholeness, true connection with others becomes possible. And so I leave you with this thought: loneliness is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your transformation. Every man who has ever walked the path of greatness first faced the silence within, and instead of running away, he listened to it. He allowed it to shape him into someone whole, into someone authentic. Carl Jung reminds us that your soul is wiser than your fears, and if you dare to meet it, you will discover strength that no mask could ever give you. So do not waste another day pretending. Do not waste another night hiding from yourself. You deserve connection. You deserve peace. You deserve a life where your heart and your mind walk together. And when you take even the smallest step toward your real self, you will see how loneliness begins to fade, not because the world changes, but because you have changed. And if this message touched you, if it gave you clarity or courage, then take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe to Life Live, because here we explore the truths that awaken your soul and free your mind. Together we are building a community of men and women who choose honesty over masks, growth over comfort, and wholeness over emptiness. Join us in this journey, because your next chapter begins now.